We are, my goodness, I don't even know where we are. We came into Castle Durgan, we just followed directions, but we've called out with Alwyn Young here from, he's well known. He done a wee stint on the UTV rare breed a couple of years ago, isn't that right?
That's
Alwyn?
right, aye.
And I suppose the official name is Charlie Young and Sons, isn't that right? Or?
Correct, aye.
But the main reason we called out here, Alwyn, is one, we wanted to thank you for your part and ask you a couple of questions about the Bale Challenge that you helped us with last year. You organised and sorted the county of Tyrone, and then not only that there, you then took us all the way, I don't even know what roads we went, but we just followed you on your 6480 and your County Bale all the way over to the Graining Estate for the last, and you finished out the very last county with us, which was Great Crag. We interviewed little Pete from the Bale Challenge, who run the County Bale, and then when we came out here we were sort of blown away because you were running this County Baler here, which was a prototype at the time, and we just have to ask you, what's so good about this County Baler?
Coon took over Viking, and it was
Yes.
Viking that we were using beforehand, and it sort of led then on, and now it's the same bidder as what we used to have. It was actually a Dutch Fire we had at the time.
But it's not all. We watched it Bale. It's not. It's not the same Bale. It couldn't be the same Baler.
Antec has slightly changed since the time of the Dutch. Definitely an unreal Antec. All we ever bale was 30 foots. Should it be after the big triple moors, or we'd always row it up in front of the bidder with a rake. Simple reasons. 20-foot moor, you're usually always just leaving one row over on the side of the other. You're ending maybe always with a high-sided bale. You've less running around the field, and it cuts your speed away down too as well. It's a lot easier on the reel of the bidder if you've less ground to travel, and you get more output too as well.
But she can handle the 30 foot, no problem.
Within reason, yes.
Yeah.
Everything's blockable, but we've no issue at all.
Well, we know Pete from the Bale Challenge, that was his actual baler that run around with us, and you also have one of those as well.
We do.
The Bio.
Right.
But he was saying that was his baler, and when he came home and did his own baling, that he actually never managed to block it once. Now, maybe he wasn't trying hard enough, or maybe the Landini didn't have the power. We'll not get into that. The intake in his, he said, was phenomenal. It seems to be that way with yours, but yours is more conventional. Bale, spits it out and wraps. But even the wrapping's not conventional in that. Can you explain a little bit about what's different about how it wraps?
You have two different modes. You can wrap it the conventional way, or else you have another mode that's known as 3D. And 3D will put the plastic on the bale evenly around the bale. The conventional way, you'll end up with more plastic on both sides of the bale. Whereas 3D, it'll give one rotate around first to more or less hold the plastic. The two wrappers are turned down sideways, and it'll wrap the bale back and forward, and then after, I think it's maybe 2 or 3 layers that way, it'll then finish out the bale. So you have an equal layer of plastic the whole way right around the sides and the barrel of the bale.
Do you see it making a difference?
It does, especially when it comes winter time whenever you're opening the bale. We'd usually run a knife around the bottom of the bale and then lift the plastic off, the pallet toe. You not do it with a 3D wrap. It's that tight of a bale, or it's that tightly wrapped. If you need to split the side of the bale with a knife.
And I can spy there as well, you have the same system Pete had. You can put wrap around the bale initially instead of just net. What was your preference last year?
A lot of the sheep farmers wanted to use the plastic to get that shorter, leafier grass. Quality would be better with the plastic, and opening the bales too as well. A lot easier to open.
That's exactly what Pete said. He noticed when he was using that system. So you're a Coon fan?
Definitely, aye.
Looking about me here, you're not just a Coon fan. You're obviously a Massey fan. Is that your doing, or is that Charlie's doing?
It would follow on from Charlie. Aye. They'd be saying that you're better sticking with the devil, so.
But yous have been Masseys. We were just looking back through some of your history there. Actually, I noticed this was really cool. You've made like a book of the history of your going there, and so you have been running right back to multi-powers up through. I seen pictures of like 600s, 300s, 3000s, 6000s, all the 6000s, 61s, 62s. Your newest edition just arrived a couple of days ago, and we actually knew that from speaking to wee Kevin at an interview. you bought what we seen in the corner of our eye was the 7726S.
Right.
What's the plan for her?
We had a 7624, and it was down to 6. Our plans is to go with a second set of triple moors, but we prefer the Vario for using the moors. For coming out to the headlands turning around sharp to go back down again. The vario, you can come right away down, no slow, not to be ripping the ground to come around, whereas on the 24, you were in third range, and you'd have to come down in the second range, and then whenever you wanted to change back up again, there was a pause. Even for mowing around ditches, the vario's better on the land, doing them land jobs if you wish.
Well, on the Bale Challenge you had your mower out, but now that was a bit of a monster now, an 84-80. Charlie does all the mowing with it. Do you think the 7726 will be able to keep up with her or not?
We'll be grand on the flat, but it's whenever we go to climb a hill, especially if it's that heavier first cut not lying towards, definitely. The 84, I would say, will be walking away now, I would think.
Well, the next question for you is, who do you think will drive the 26 here? Do you think that the boss man himself will stay with the 84, or do you think he'll venture over to the 26? Well, that could be as good. That could be maybe one to come back and see.
We'll try and get him started with the 26. So,
and then whatever he
might take his own course, then maybe go back on to the 84, maybe.
But you have a great history with Massey Ferguson, and Kevin mentioned you there. He singled you out in a bit of an interview. He said the 6616, he said you were running those pulling 3,000 gallon tankers. Now we had the 6616 out, and it was the first 4-cylinder turbo with a bit of mass about it, if you know what I mean. And we thought it was a really good job. Are you a convert or not? Or
we went from the tier 2 6480s at the time. Whenever we went to change them, it was the 66s, but like for like, we'd had went for a 7618. And we're just getting that wee bit bigger in size, and as you can probably see from this area, there's not that overly large farms about here. And we wanted to keep the size of the tractor fairly neat, so that's why we went for the 66, the 16. We went just to keep her down and that bit smaller, if you know, handier manoeuvred.
And is she doing everything that you want her to do? Are you happy? Are you pleased with them?
We definitely are, mate. Everything that we've asked, we are more than happy. Did you comment one time on somebody that you'd love to see a tractor, a Massey with 10,000 hours on it or something? Was it
20,000 hours? But Ryan Dock says he's going to get that one of yours up to 20.
I'm only halfway there then.
Are you on the GRASSMEN? No. Where are you from? Oh boy. Illinois.
I own your own tractor.
Which one?
SKZ. Right.
What's the oldest sort of tractors you would have in the fleet?
On the diet feeder, we have a 3090. We have two 3085s.
She'll do us.
Two-wheel drive.
Oh, you've lost me now.
So
you're still running a couple of 3000 series.
We do, aye. They do the tether, 2 tethers, and they do a rake if needed. Mixing slurry this time of year.
But it's not just buy something, a couple of years and blow it on. They're here, when they come here, they're here to work.
They're aye.
Another big thing I have to say I've noticed, I know we're standing here looking at a set of cleavers, but your big new tractor, that your 26 that you've in there, you've Vertistens on, and Charlie's big Massey for mowing has the Vertistens on, and there's a few other sets of them. What's the story there?
Well, to tell right, we had got 3 new 6280s, and after one season, the tyres, they were Goodyears, but they weren't the, what do you call them?
Opti-Track.
They weren't them, they were the ones before that. And after that first season, the tyres had to be took off. They were wore down. So Dad was over at the Hind Show, and he walked onto a stand. It was Vertisten, I think it was a Case tractor, and there was a placard in front of it saying, this tractor has done 3,000 hours. And they had a new tyre beside, the tyres that it was on. And he could see really no difference compared to 3,000 hours work. So it started from that. He allowed it a chance to set a Vertisten, and ever since that, we've seen for ourselves, we do get real good wear.
And grip as well, is it all there?
At the very start, same as suppose any new tyre at the start, they're very sharp on the ground. But once you get that bit wore down, if you know, they're definitely, but we would work.
It takes you 3,000 hours to get her to grip then.
Takes a wee bit. But
you're right, you're right in what you're saying about the very, very sharp. They can dig it out very much. Any tyre can.
Right. Definitely them now, whenever there's, once you get them wore down a bit, we would work with our tyre pressures. If we do go onto a farm that's fairly wet, we would let our tyres down usually there's never too long of a draw. We'd nearly manage till we get home again to get them blew up again, you know. But for by grip, yes, we're happy enough with the way they grip too.
And that's why you have a lot of Vertistens.
That's why we have
in this
Vertisten.
fleet.
They wouldn't be as dear as your Michelin too as well, and we're getting the wear out of them. So
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We've always known you for running class choppers, and I see you've one sitting in the barn there. But the rumour mill's at work, flat out, talking about a different breed joining you this year.
We've jumped ship, as they say. We've moved to a crone, so it's a 630 crone.
That's very interesting now, because our sales going to be working with Crone this year, so it'll be very interesting to maybe join forces and compare notes.
Fair enough.
And see how we get on. And one thing I must say, I mean, if anybody thinks of Charlie Young and that, and outside the contracting, everybody knows you have a mad passion for tractor pulling.
We do.
And you have not only just done tractor pulling in Ireland, the tractor pulling has taken you away to, like, you've been in Europe, tractor pulling.
We were taken over to Holland in 2009.
And you took the big
8480 went.
And against all the modified stuff, am I right in saying you came in something? Where'd you come?
Third. Came third.
You know, and I bet you that was a nice experience.
It was, definitely was.